What it do, YouTube? I'm Jam for Life here, and gonna briefly talk about a little bit more about X and Y. Um, but I went on Sarah B yesterday, clicked on this 6 gem Pokemon, see if they added any new Pokemon, and I came across these two pictures of the legendaries. Now you may say, "Wow, we already seen the legendaries before," but this picture of Xerneas especially, um, the 2D version looks a little bit different than the 3D version in the fact that in the 3D version it looks a lot more like a Steel type. But in the 2D version, it definitely looks a lot much more like a dark type than it did in this screenshot of it. And it could be just because we only see the front side, so you don't really get to see all this black, or you can't really see it as well. But this definitely looks like a dark type, and especially the Y legendary. It's almost. I'd be surprised if either of these two weren't dark types. This one more maybe dark flying, dark dragon, and then this one maybe still dark steel. And I definitely there is a possibility for dark grass now because I mean it is a dark type, so it would make, if it was still a grass type, it would make sense that it wouldn't be green in the sense that it's a dark type, so it would be black. So dark grass is definitely possible. Maybe dark steel, or maybe just pure dark. Although I doubt it, either of these will be pure darks. But yeah, just I wanted to share that with you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the two-dimensional drawings of these Pokemon, but they look much different on 2D than they do in 3D. Um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was certain other expectations I have or hopes I have for X and Y, and one of them was obviously, or a couple of in my other video I said I wanted them to reconcile the evolutions and get some pre-evolutions or evolved forms of Pokemon that don't have it, and reconcile with the moves as far as adding new moves in. But another thing that goes with reconciling the moves, and it's a lot easier to show than to show and tell at the same time. So I'm just going to type in one of the moves that really annoys me, or a couple of moves that really annoy me. Flare Blitz. There we go. All right. So Flare Blitz is one of those, for example. Okay, so looking at Flare Blitz, the Pokemon who get it, obviously all fire types. We're just gonna pretend Smeargle isn't there. So obviously all fire type Pokemon. But there's certain fire type Pokemon that are not on this list. Entei is not on this list. We all know that it gets Flare Blitz, but it gets it through an event, so it doesn't show up because it doesn't learn it through egg moves or level up. So that's why Entei is not on the list. But on the Pokemon that isn't on the list, that definitely should be, is Flareon. And I'm gonna open up a second tab here real quickly, or maybe not real quickly. Right, there you go. Oh no, there it is right there. So let's see if I can get to the black and white Pokedex. Hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. So basically, I don't understand. Like Vulpix and Ninetales get Flare Blitz, but Flareon doesn't. Like I just that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand why a Pokemon with 130 base physical attack has its strongest stab physical move be Fire Fang. I mean, it was like that for Entei for a while too, and that just didn't make any sense to me. So we're just going to go to Flareon here and confirm that it does not get Flare Blitz. We're going to Control F, type in Flare Blitz, and nope, it does not get Flare Blitz. Which, I mean, we all knew that. But, like, for example, I don't understand why Flareon doesn't get Flare Blitz, and Vulpix and Ninetales do. It doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for this to be that way. Especially, like, Volcarona gets Flare Blitz. I understand because, actually, what is this, Larvesta has higher attack than it does special attack. So that may be the reason why they gave it a physical fire type move. But Flareon, this is Gen 5, and Flareon still does. Flareon's strongest physical move is still Fire Fang. That's unacceptable. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. There's no reason for it not to be that way. For it to be that way. Another move that is a good example is Drain Punch. This move is so wacky. All right, so look at all the Pokemon that get Drain Punch, and you'll notice that there aren't that many fighting Pokemon who get Drain Punch. Hitmonchan, what is this? Breloom, Metachan, Lucario, Toxicroak, Gallade, obviously Conkeldurr, Scrafty, Mienshao. Those are the those are the only fighting Pokemon that get Drain Punch. Now let's look at fight. Maybe there are only 8 fighting Pokemon. I doubt it, but let's check the list of fighting Pokemon here and see if we can if there's a reason we can explain why some of these other Pokemon don't get Drain Punch. Well, there's Primeape, Poliwrath, Machamp, Heracross, Hitmontop, Hariyama. Didn't see Drain Punch. Didn't Fernape get Drain Punch? No, it didn't. Fernape. Emboar. Throw. Sock. Obviously these Pokemon shouldn't have Drain Punch because they don't have hands. But I mean that's not obvious because Togekiss has Drain Punch. Why does Togekiss have Drain Punch? Why? Please explain this to me. Why Togekiss has Drain Punch, but Machamp doesn't, or Poliwrath doesn't, or Hariyama doesn't. Why does Togekiss have Drain Punch over those Pokemon? I mean, some of these Pokemon, I understand, they have fists and they punch you. Then they can learn Drain Punch. That makes sense. But does Blissey really need Drain Punch? Let's be honest with ourselves here. Does Blissey really need Drain Punch? What is its attack like? Base 10? But Machamp doesn't get it. Or Alakazam gets Drain Punch. Does Alakazam, Kadabra, and Abra, do they really need Drain Punch? Vileplume? Does Vileplume really need Drain Punch? Come on now. Let's be serious here. This move here, the Pokemon that get it, it almost makes no sense. Garbodor, it doesn't really even have hands. Like, how Reuniclus has Drain Punch. Why? Why? But Machamp, Poliwrath, Hariyama, and Fernape, and company, Sock, Throw, none of those Pokemon get Drain Punch. That makes no sense. I feel like almost all fighting Pokemon should get Drain Punch, with the exception of maybe Hitmonlee. That makes sense why it doesn't get Drain Punch. Who else? Obviously, Arcee is fighting. What other Pokemon? And then the legendary goats, Terrakion, Virizion, and Cobalion, and Keldeo. Other than that, every other fighting Pokemon, maybe Heracross as well. Maybe Heracross, I can understand because it's a bug as well. But these other Pokemon, there's no excuse. There's no reason why they don't get Drain Punch. There's absolutely no reason. And this is why I know, because I know Game Freak was trying to say, we're trying to make the game make sense. That's why when you roost, you can get hit by ground type moves or things of that nature. That's what we're trying to make the game make sense. If you're really trying to make the game make sense, because this right here proves that you guys aren't really trying. Because why the fuck does Pikachu and Raichu get Fly? Why do they get Fly? Please explain this to me. I know it's supposed to be. I mean, I know Pikachu gets Surf. It's like it was an event thing. It was kind of like a cool thing, but still, Pikachu and Raichu get Fly, but Machamp doesn't get Drain Punch. No, I'm not buying it. I wasn't buying it when I saw that. Another move is U-turn. U-turn. I really feel like all flying Pokemon, with certain exceptions, should have U-turn because it just makes sense. They're flying and they should be able to U-turn. But some key Pokemon who don't get U-turn, Aerodactyl is one of them. Skarmory is another one that doesn't get a flying type that doesn't get U-turn. And there's really no reason for these Pokemon not to have U-turn. I really don't. I can't explain to you why they don't have U-turn. Gyarados not getting U-turn makes sense. I mean, I really even think that Charizard should have U-turn. I mean, Moltres has U-turn. What's really the difference between Charizard and Moltres? Let's see, what else? Let me go through the list, see if I can see. Does Farfetch get U-turn? I mean, Gyarados is one of the only flying Pokemon that it makes sense for them not to have U-turn. For it not to have U-turn, I guess. I mean, most of these other Pokemon get U-turn. Mantine, maybe Mantine shouldn't get U-turn. I mean, I get that because it's a water flying, like Gyarados, it's mainly a swimming Pokemon. But Skarmory not getting U-turn makes no sense. What else? Altaria not getting U-turn. Does it get U-turn? I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. I'm just quickly glancing over the list, and it doesn't get U-turn. And I mean, like all these flying Pokemon. Okay, Drifblim makes sense for Drifblim not to have U-turn. If we're going through by, we're trying to make the game make sense, then it would make sense for Drifblim not to have U-turn. Maybe Sigilyph makes sense for it to not to have U-turn. But for the most part, if you're a flying Pokemon, it should just be automatic. Flying U-turn. Just like flying Pokemon and Fly just automatically go together, pretty much. It should be the same thing with U-turn. There's no reason for flying types not to have U-turn. But let's go through some of these like super random Pokemon who have U-turn. Um, I just spotted one like Pachirisu. Why does Pachirisu have U-turn? And Skarmory and Aerodactyl don't. Or Sentret and Furret. Like, what? Just, no. Eradicate? Why? I mean, maybe it's like for a rat, I guess, it's running away, or a fur that's running away, so that's kind of U-turn. But still, there's no reason for Skarmory and, so that could be the logic to why they gave these rat and, cat-type Pokemon U-turn. But Skarmory and Aerodactyl and, Pokemon like that not getting U-turn, it just doesn't make any sense, and it just needs to be fixed. It just needs to straight up be fixed. They need to just add it to their movesets and stop playing around. Same thing with Roost. 5 matches. The main Pokemon who don't get Roost are the legendary Genies. Now, I get it. If they got Roost, they'd be broken. Come on, Tornadus T already just got voted to Uber. If it had Roost plus Regenerator, it'd be broken. But, I mean, it doesn't matter, though. I mean, they still should get Roost. They're flying types. And the only reason why I could understand maybe why they didn't give them Roost is because of the issue with just Tornadus being a pure flying type. When it roosts, what type will it be? And I think it would be a normal type if you, like, hack the game and put Roost on it. I think it becomes a normal type. But, I mean, it's the same thing with Skarmory. Like, Skarmory would be weak to fighting moves when it roosts. And Tornadus would be weak to fighting moves when it roosts. But maybe there's like a paradox because it's just a flying Pokemon, and even if it roosts, it'll be a flying Pokemon. Maybe that's why they didn't give it to Tornadus. But, I mean, Landorus and Thundurus, there's really no reason for them not to have Roost. Other than the fact that it would just be completely broken on them. But, I mean, they don't care. I mean, Lugia has Roost, and Lugia is a monster, and it's Lugia is broken, so, I mean, that can't be their reasoning. So, some of these moves, they just need to just stop playing around. And, I mean, it's really cool that Togekiss has Drain Punch and all, but there's no reason for it to have Drain Punch, just like there's no reason for Machamp and Poliwrath to not have Drain Punch. It just needs to be fixed straight up. And another thing I want to talk about briefly is how they can improve the game, just the game itself. And one thing I had problems with the game is that, just to me personally, it was too easy. The AI was just too stupid to me. Like, I feel like Game Freak just hasn't really tried to improve the AI at all, other than the fact that the game just flat out cheats sometimes when it wants to win. It'll just cheat. Like, I really truly believe, like, the game just cheat. Just if there's certain parts in the game where you're like, there's no way that this game is not purposefully giving me all these crits and paralyzes. Especially when you do like Battle Tower or Battle Factory. Like, I'm like, they straight up, or Battle Subway. Was it like they just straight up cheat sometimes. But other than that, the AI just is stupid. Like, the game's not hard at all, and the only reason why the Elite Four is even challenging is because their levels are just high. And sometimes when you're going through the journey or whatever, your Pokemon just don't get that strong. Like, they'll be at level like 45 or 50 or whatever, unless you just grind them up. But like in the Elite Four, they'll be at like 70, 80, and that's really the only thing that's challenging about them, is that their levels are just so high. But like the AI doesn't ever make switches, or they don't ever like have good move sets on their Pokemon. Like, I just feel like the gym leaders and the Elite Four should be a little bit more challenging. Like, it should be harder. The game should be harder, or at least they should have difficulty settings. Like, that's something that the game is missing: difficulty settings. Because I know they don't want to make it hard, because it's mainly for kids. Like, all of us adults playing Pokemon, I mean, it's mainly for their age range is their target. The target market is probably like 7 to 15, maybe. That's who they really want to aim the game for. But still, they still need to understand that there are a lot of older people playing the game now. That they played it when they were younger. They're still playing the game, so they need to accommodate us older players, because I don't want this childishly easy game anymore. It's Generation 6 now. They need to add at least difficulty settings. So, I mean, I want my game to be a little bit more challenging. And I don't feel like that's too much to ask, in my personal opinion. So, I mean, this is just another thing. And there's a laundry list of things that they could do to improve the game, and I'm sure they've had meetings about some of these things. But I definitely think that a difficulty setting should be one of the things that I feel like they should include in this generation. because the game is, in my personal opinion, is just too easy, and I understand why it is that way. But as a company marketing or selling a product, you have to understand who plays these games, and I'm pretty sure that there's a large population of 20 plus year olds playing this game, and I'm pretty sure that you guys will agree with me that the game is way too easy, and it's just like it's just a task to get through the whole thing because it's just like ugh, whatever. Sometimes that's what I feel like. Here we go again with this easy ass game that I'm gonna buy anyway because I love Pokemon. But that's gonna do it for this video, viewers. Please leave a comment about what you think about some of my ideas and some of the questions that I've raised in this video. And as always, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, like, all that shit. I'm out of here. Deuces.